The first adventure of the 2024 D&D 5.5 era is here, and it's an anthology of dragon-related one-shots. My general TLDR review of the Dragon Delves anthology is the same as all WotC anthology books. A few of the adventures are great, a couple are good, the rest are forgettable. Which are which? Well, you're just gonna have to watch to find out.
I'd buy that for $1.
But the other TLDR is that this book's art is its saving grace. I'll be scrolling the art on screen throughout this video, and I'll talk more about it later. Also, I am not sponsored by Wizards of the Coast, and I paid for my copy of this book. My mind is my own, bruh.
Here we go!
Okay, here's the basic info. 10 adventures from levels 1 to 12. They all say 1 to 2 sessions, and some of them are meaty with lots of NPCs, and some are just a couple locations and a boss fight. The book formatting is a big change from previous 5e style. Drop cap headers are gone. In fact, a lot about this book feels different compared to previous 5e books. Even the spine look is changed. There's a section at the beginning with 3 hooks to make this into a campaign, but I guess the question you gotta ask yourself first is, should you turn this into a campaign? And I doubt you're gonna want to run the whole book. I'll go into detail later about which ones I like and which ones I don't, but I think the players might get sick of dragon-related quests if you churn through all 10 of these in a row. Now, say you like 5 of them, you could obviously just strip this book for parts, but let's say you do want to make this a campaign. The book gives 3 options. Oh, also, if you're a player wanting to avoid spoilers, click away now. Go on, get! Where was I? Right, making a campaign. This book lists 3 options. Number 1 is the mysterious patron who turns out to be Bahamut. Bahamut sends them out on dragonly adventures to his own mysterious ends. And I say no, don't do this hook. I loathe campaigns where everything hinges on one NPC lying to the party. See Vecna, Eve of Ruin for a recent example of this failing spectacularly. The second option is more clever. Take a plot hook from the final adventure and seed it into the first adventure. The party receives a special dragon egg, which must be steeped in the hordes of 10 different dragons. It's not great, but it gets the job done. And the third option is just appeal to the player's greed with the promise of treasure. I have a better idea for a campaign hook, which I'll tell you after the individual adventure reviews. Stay tuned for that. Here are some other general thoughts. 3 of the 10 adventures are marked as good for solo play, which in D&D 5.5 language means 1 DM and 1 player. But this book doesn't really advise you to scale down enemies. Instead, it recommends giving that single PC the boon of the lone champion, which is heroic inspiration after every rest, and temp HP equal to 10 times their level, which persists after rests. I haven't personally tried out this boon, but I am curious how Giant Bag of Hit Points does versus enemy action economy when the baddies can focus fire on the singular PC every round. I don't do that kind of deep dive math here on the channel, that's Chris from Treant Monk's domain. If you've tried it, let me know in the comments. I would probably also give the marshals 2 attacks at level 1, or give casters upgraded cantrips, or at least a free bonus action disengage, and maybe even 2 full actions on their turn. I mean, why not? Also, there are no new monster stat blocks or feats, or if there are new magic items, I didn't spot them. I know the 2024 core books just came out with oodles of revamped and new stuff, but I did expect maybe 1 new variant dragon stat block. And I wish there had been a couple more higher level adventures. The book does a pretty good job of making the low level stuff draconic themed without having you fight actual dragons. But I would have liked a level 17 adventure with an epic multi-dragon battle in a well-designed lair, but no such luck. But that saving grace, the art. Each chapter is related to a different draconic type. Going in order, you've got green, gold, silver, brass, bronze, red, black, white, copper, and blue. At the end of each chapter, there's a section on the history of that dragon type with a little text blurb and then gobs of art. It shows the official depictions of that dragon over the editions, including crossover Magic the Gathering cards. Because of that, this book has about twice the amount of art pieces that a normal D&D book has. If you like these books for them pretty pictures, this one might be a swipe right for you. And I really like in Chapter 1 here, the top it reads, it can take place in any heavily forested region. In previous 5e anthologies like Tales from the Yawning Portal, you'd get a little sidebar with specific suggestions like Forgotten Realms. On Faerun, the Sunless Citadel was once a secret stronghold of the Cult of the Dragon located in the foothills northwest of Thundertree. And that's nice to help you mix and match adventures and settings, but I prefer this simple, open-ended advice. Near a forest? Check. Now I can drop that into my world wherever. Also, I appreciate how they put bulleted plot points right up top with a list of NPCs and monsters after. Too many older adventures assume you'll read the whole thing before running it, and so they drip out important information like breadcrumbs. That was fine when the modules were 30 stapled pages, not so much when they're 256-page hardbacks. I want to know the summary and the twist and how it ends before I commit to running it, so I do appreciate Wizards of the Coast being, I guess, more considerate of DM's time by telling us the highlights from the jump. 5e bent over backwards to make D&D easier to learn and play for players, and it's about time they applied that philosophy toward Dungeon Masters too. Okay, so enough generalities, let's talk about the 10 adventures. I'm going to go lightning round through these, mostly skipping the plot summaries. And I will give out this juicy tidbit right away that I like 4 of them a lot, and the other 6 are just okay. And one of those just okay ones is Chapter 1, Death at Sunset. It's standard fantasy forest sickness, missing villagers, long dead dragon, feared returned. It's boring, you can skip it. Chapter 2 is Baker's Doesn't, and as far as puns go, that's not bad. I love this one with its funky art. It's a cozy paranormal mystery with Feywild touches, and it has a big reveal that changes the tone quickly from whimsical to dark. I don't want to spoil it here, but I'll just say that as a thriller novelist who specializes in plot twists, I approve of the twist in this adventure. I also like that it gets right to the action and has distinct NPCs with clear motivations. Finally, in the running for one player section, it suggests skill proficiencies to pick. That's handy. Chapter 3, The Will of Orcus, is okay. It's fine, but it didn't move me. The dragon interaction is potentially interesting because the players could ally with it, and the adventure has a handout, which I like. But overall, meh, nothing innovative here. Chapter 4 is For Whom the Void Calls. I love this one. It's fantastical and zany and a real good time, and I'm about to spoil the twist in 3, 2, 1. The hook is, the adventurers receive a distress call from a sentient bag of devouring, posing as a bag of holding, pretending to be held hostage by a dragon. Now, I know a couple minutes ago I said I don't like adventures where it all hinges on one NPC lying to the party, but this one is nicely done. It's a cool setting featuring NPCs with strong motivations, fun Githyanki Magitech stuff, and an abandoned creche. Yeah, this one works. Chapter 5 is The Dragon of Najkir. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but this one kind of bored me. Standard fantasy fare with ship travel, an attack at sea, a mean dragon to hunt. I don't really know what else to say about this one. It's a no for me, dog. Chapter 6 is The Forbidden Veil, and it has this retro black and white art style throughout. But the adventure is, mediocre. It has an engaging hook and backstory, but becomes convoluted after that. There are too many important factions and NPCs, and it's a lot of info to manage for just a one-shot. Also, it has multiple big maps and tons of keyed areas. This one has some cool individual parts, but prepping it might be more hassle than it's worth. But Chapter 7, Before the Storm, this one is great. It's a standard fantasy pirate fare, but crafted really well. It has a strong start, good NPCs and factions with logical motivations, and creative locations. Now that the PCs are level 10, they're finally dealing with adult dragons. Since you've stuck around this long, could I trouble you for a like and subscribe? I would be really grateful. You and me, we could be best friends. Chapter 8 is Shivering Death. This one is pretty good, not great. It starts out like a standard fetch quest, but feuding NPCs in the dungeon provides some interesting layers. And the dungeon itself is pretty cool, so this one is a solid maybe. Next, Chapter 9, A Copper for a Song, the only adventure that uses an existing setting. It's based on The God's Breath from Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel, but you don't have to set it there. And I actually love this adventure. It's a puzzle mystery where the players receive a handout they have to decipher for clues. so the party then interacts with the NPCs to get help solving the puzzle. This leads them to overland travel in a fun hill giant encounter. The dragon's lair in this one is creative with special mechanics and area effects. And then the final chapter is Dragons of the Sandstone City. Standard ticking clock, stop the ritual kind of stuff, not that interesting. In this one the players finally get to fight an ancient dragon, but they can nerf it before the fight to make it more manageable. So, to recap, here are the ones I really liked. The one trait they have in common is that they all do something a little different, like that restaurant down the street that keeps asking if it's your first time dining with them. And here are the okay ones. Your mileage may vary, I'm just a guy on YouTube with opinions. Now let me talk about how I would run this as a campaign. First thing is, skim through the adventures and decide which ones to run. It's really handy how they tell you suitable environments at the top of every one. Obviously, the first thing you're going to need is a home base, and put NPCs there at that home base that the players will care about. So they want to return to the home base between missions. That's important. Then here's what I would do. Have a quest giver send them out to retrieve specific dragon parts. Maybe the sacred lake near town is dying and needs dragon scales to heal it or whatever. But here's the thing, if you only like a few of these adventures and want to mix in other stuff, it's super easy. Just have the quest giver add the dragon scales to the shopping list of MacGuffins you need from those other adventures. Most adventures have some kind of MacGuffin at the heart, or it's easy to add one. So yeah, the quest giver says, bring me bronze, black, and green dragon scales, plus an Eye of Newt, and that magic sword that's lost way deep in that one dungeon. Finally, let's talk about VTT integration with Maps on D&D Beyond. Maps, as you might know, is the scrappy 2D upstart that won out versus the too-big-to-fail 3D Sigil VTT. Or maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's fine. Owlbear Rodeo is my preferred VTT, but Maps is honestly pretty good. For a while now, if you've bought an adventure on D&D Beyond, you also get the grid maps added into the VTT as part of the purchase. But now with Dragon Delves, you can also choose to load the Quick Play option, which comes with tokens and Fog of War ready. You can still upload the no token version too if you want. See, in this map, there's no Fog of War at the bottom left, where it's going to assume that you'll drop the PC tokens, and if you run the adventure as written, everything should match up. Also, the enemy tokens default to hidden, which is nice if you're loading the map live while in session. I gotta say, I like this a lot. I know people have strong feelings about walled gardens and the D&D Beyond ecosystem in general, but I can't argue with how simple and end-to-end this makes it. If you run games online, you know how sourcing tokens and placing Fog of War can end up eating up huge chunks of your prep time. If this cuts that down for Dungeon Masters, I'm all for it. And you know what, that's about it for me. Is Dragon Delves good? Like all these anthologies, it's pretty much a mixed bag. Anyway, I'm GM Jim, and let me know if and how you like this anthology. Stay fresh, cheesebags.